Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back. I am Golf Love UK and this is Pro Golf Critic. We are so excited after a sort of a 2-week hiatus, 2-week break. You will hopefully listen to Eugenio Shikara episode, our first returning guest. Eugenio talks about changing his putter face, talked about qualifying for the majors, which he's now gone and done. So congratulations, Eugenio.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, good to him.
Great to see. And I love it's not arrogance. It's just like that raw confidence. I'm going to go qualify for majors. Just watch me do it.
That's what you need to have to play at that level. Like the level he's trying to get to, being the elite of the elite. Like he has it. It's just a matter of time and sort of getting to that level. He's got the confidence. He's got the game. I think it's just a matter of time. Like he qualified for the US Open, like, I mean, pretty easily, to be honest. Like, I mean, he went out guns blazing first round and had a pretty big lead and then just kind of coasted home. So, good to see. Sad to see Sergio didn't get in or Abe Answer either. But it is what it is. Yeah,
the Sergio one was savage. 7 players went to a playoff. 6 were going to get a spot, and he was the only player not to make a par or birdie on the playoff hole.
Yeah, I think there's a reasonable chance that he still gets in as an alternate, just looking at historical, situations similar. So we'll have to see how it pans out. But
and P. Reed pulled out of the qualifying.
Yes.
Didn't he? Which makes me think he's probably been given a nudge to get an automatic space.
That's what I thought too. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten any confirmation.
He's one of only 3 players since the inception of LIV to make every single cut. In all the majors.
Yeah.
So that was so we had the Masters, then LIV. So yeah, it's
Yeah, he's been in like 40 plus straight majors that he's been in. So the US Open would be the first one that he's not in like
he's
10 years.
Also, I think I read somewhere, and I could be wrong, and I expect me to be pulled up aggressively by our fans and by that one guy. By the way, have you ever seen the one guy that watches on YouTube and just spends his entire time slagging us off on YouTube?
No.
It's amazing. There's one guy in the comments, he watches the show, loves it, but hates us. Really dislikes you, massively dislikes. But he watches every show because he quotes things and says, well, this was rubbish. But great to have another listener. Thanks to the algorithm. But I'm sure someone will put in the comments. But I think P. Reed is on. I think it's he's on for the 3rd or 4th best cut streak in like a 7 or 8 year period or 40 major period. Like he's right up there with cut streaks.
Really?
As numbers of cuts made in like the last 40. I think it's a decade of majors. The last 40 majors. Like I think he's got one of the highest amounts of cuts made.
That makes sense. Yeah, he plays well. Like people are always slagging off and disrespecting Patrick Reed, but Patrick Reed is like, look, he's a Masters champion. We're talking about confidence. There's nobody more confident than Patrick Reed on the golf course. Like, I mean, he is at like an elite level there. So, and he usually comes to play in majors. Like, I can't really think of too many majors where he hasn't played well. Like,
he really is a badass in the sense that like he just has that about him, and I love it. Right. Anyway, let's get on with the show. We've got loads of stuff to discuss. Can I please just go on a rant? You don't need to join in. You don't need to have an opinion because I frankly don't give a toss. This bit's about me.
Okay.
Parents are role models, not Charley Hull having a cigarette. If Charley Hull wants to have a cigarette, I couldn't give a shit. Have one. If she wants to rip darts, have one. I don't care. I'll talk about the double standards on it. John Daly has 18 Diet Cokes, 18 fags, and 3 hot dogs. And gets worshipped for it. Charley Hull has a fag, and the world's ended. The world's ended because she's having a fag. It's absolutely mental. By the way, for the American listeners, English people call cigarettes fags. Crack on, okay?
I wasn't going to go there, but it definitely has a slightly different connotation.
Yeah, for anyone in the US that isn't aware that we in the UK we call a cigarette a fag. So she's having a cigarette. She's doing what she wants to do, and then she's got all these comments. And not only that, secondly, thirdly, on to my millionth part of this rant. I don't give a shit what you think you want to say about Charley Hull. be kind. Some of the comments I've read about her, well, if she smokes cigarettes and she wears short skirts, like, people are just horrible, nasty people casting aspersions on a character. I don't care what she does. It's her life, and let her live it. Oh, she shouldn't be smoking a cigarette near a child. And if the parent doesn't want her next to her, if the parent doesn't want the child to be near Charlie when she's smoking, the parent should say, don't go there until she's finished a cigarette. It's not up to Charlie Hole. If it was a no smoking sign and they're indoors, fair enough.
Yeah.
But this absolute modern shit that we get all the time about sports people are role models.
Yeah.
I say it again. If Charlie Hole's having a cigarette in front of Annabelle, and Annabelle goes to have a cigarette because she's watched Charlie Hole, that's my fault.
Yeah,
I've allowed my daughter to be manipulated, so easily influenced.
Yes.
It's not on her. I just had to get off my chest because it drives me
I appreciate
mad.
that. I had no idea people were sort of commenting like that. Look, I am very anti-smoking. I don't like smoking, but I like Charlie Hole. She's probably one of my favorite female players to watch for a variety of reasons. But she's one of the most interesting female golfer. I mean, really more interesting golfers out there. Like, she has a personality, she has a style, she has what the kids call.
She's got a Rory swagger about her, and she's got that Rory swagger about her. She's got that.
Even more than that. She has a Riz about her. It's what the kids call Riz, charisma. So like
I've actually explained fag in English being a cigarette. Can you explain to the English listeners what Riz means in America?
What Riz is, So Riz in America is basically what the kids say when it comes to having charisma, having a certain swagger, having like
Can't they just say charisma? Why do they have to invent Riz?
No, honestly, I only heard this like fairly recently. Like I was on the driving range, and I heard
I'm older, white, and British. I don't know cool words.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have to rely on Mrs. PGC for this because
does she have to keep you in tune with the kids?
Yeah, she's always she's a bit of an influence. I don't want to call her an influencer, but she'll kick my ass for that. But she's very much more like in tune to some of the stuff than I am. Just given her background in fashion and knowing trends and all that stuff, just pop culture. But like I think Charlie Hall has it. Like she's one of those people that like when she's on TV and she's playing golf, like you kind of are drawn to watching her. Like she has that like thing about her that a lot of people don't. Like, people like Scottie Scheffler does not have what Charlie Hall has on a lot of different levels. Or there's other female players that just they'll never have like what she has. So,
I'm annoyed with some of the accounts that have written so many negative things, and they've gone way past the smoking into other realms and other comments. And
oh god,
look, Grayson Murray has passed away, and I don't want to rehash it and look like we're copying everybody else. But Grayson Murray's passed away, and it's very sad.
Mm-hmm.
There's been no confirmation about his death. There's been rumors about what it could be and whatever else, and I don't want to go into those. What I want to talk about is
the family pretty much confirmed like what we suspected. So
There was a man who was very troubled.
Yes,
mental health problems, drink problems. Lexi Thompson we'll talk about in a moment. Lexi Thompson talked about the stresses and the strains of being in the public eye. We've had Matt Wolf talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, oh my God, it's so sad. Mental health this, mental health that. Oh, Grayson Murray, addiction, Grayson Murray. Oh, it's so sad. 24 hours later, slagging off Charlie Hole. Oh, what is wrong with you, absolute bastards? Like, I've never been so angry in a podcast. We care about people and their mental health. Look, if Charlie Hole had had a cigarette and thrown it at a kid, yeah, fine. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
Autographs, puffing on a cigarette. Leave her alone. And if you don't like it, just make comments saying, I don't think it's appropriate. If you have to. But you know what? You don't have to. Just take a day off and stop being nasty.
Yeah, some of these podcasts out there, and it's something that really grinds my gears about them. And look, I'll call them out. Like people like No Laying Up. Like No Laying Up has a
bully
checkered
culture.
path.
They're bully culture.
Oh yeah, like they.
Comments that Tron Carter made about Bryson,
Oh,
it's a
he
despicable
called him a
comment.
he called him a POS, and I was.
I've made this has got the E rating on because of me. You can say piece of shit. You can say it. I have lit this podcast up for the first time ever.
No, look, some of these podcasts, I understand that they're trying to be provocative or whatever, but it's like this is part of the problem with golf culture here in the United States. Like it's like this culture of like hazing, of like if somebody doesn't agree with you, like you make fun of them, and like it's like all this stuff that just like, I mean, people that are clearly like struggling with their emotions and things like that, and you like making fun of them, and like we've seen it with Grayson Murray, we've seen it with Bryson, we've seen it with Bubba Watson, we've seen it with Lexi Thompson. Like the list goes on and on of like players that like people will make fun of. And look, it's a line that I'm never gonna cross. Yes, I've said things about let's say Rory and Max Homa, but that it's that's I've never said anything personal about them. Number one. Number two, like the things that I say about them are like just strictly in response to things that they have said. And now we have someone like Rory basically saying, "Oh, like everything that I said for a year was a mistake, and I never should have said that." And like those are things that we were saying back then. Like, I mean, these are the things. Like, that's a totally different situation than like clowning on somebody because of their emotions or like their struggles or like because they behave in a way that you don't agree with them.
Yeah,
Like that is a huge problem.
If someone, the ironic thing is the lack of criticism Tiger got for his car crash at high speed. Like, look,
Yeah, don't even get me
Tiger
started.
fan, we know I'm a Tiger fan, we know you're a Tiger fan, but when what they do is they pick on people that are well known, that have slightly differing personalities on the edges of differing ways of thinking, and use that to pick on them. Look, I kind of don't want to give them any more air, mate. If I'm honest, you and I would be discussing what a terribly busy week and headspace week you and I both had, which has been quite an adventure in itself. But I think that let's just be less of a bastard to people.
Yes.
Like if you're going to say anything nasty about Charley Hall, have a look at yourself first. What's that old line? If you point your finger, there's always three pointing back at you. Like, just have a little look at yourself before we have the need to say anything.
It's funny. It's funny. It sort of goes into what happened to me on social media recently, where Harry Higgs basically had some comments that he made that sort of went viral on social media about how people need to be nicer to each other. Like his basic suggestion was, to be nicer to people that you don't know. And I reposted and basically said, yeah, this is like something that I feel like everybody needs to do, particularly in the golf world. There's been a lot of negativity and vitriol sent over to the LIV players and the supporters of LIV. We see it every single day. And it's like I get comments like saying, "Oh, you're using this and making it about LIV." I'm like, no, I am talking about the message that Harry Higgs is trying to deliver. And I want everybody to like take a long look in the mirror at themselves. If you have contributed to this, and if you are being mean and nasty to people on social media or in your own personal life, like there's just no excuse for it. Like everybody just needs to try to be nicer. And I basically retracted it because I was like, look, I'm not going to tell anybody like what to do, but it's like, because you just can't win with people. You can make a suggestion that seems very innocuous, that like, oh yeah, everybody should be nicer. And then they want to just like completely deflect and don't take ownership of like things that they've said. And it's like, look, I have never been mean and nasty to somebody on social media unprovoked. It just does not happen. I don't believe in it. And I think more people need to actually move that way. And I think we would have a lot less
I think some people
anger
also,
and vitriol out there.
I think some people sometimes perceive things you say to be a bit of a wind up when they're actually not.
No.
But do you know what I mean? I think sometimes you can be provocative is the wrong word. I think that you can be reactionary provocative. People will say stuff and you will go back at them, but you're not ever the instigator of it.
No, all I'm doing, and people think that I am, people think that I'm being a provocateur with like my takes. There is not one single thing that I have tweeted or said that I didn't mean and I can't back up. Every single thing. So I'm not doing this for clicks.
And I said to you before, whether you're right or wrong, because you know I don't always agree. And I said, whether you're right or wrong, you do have your own logic to back it up. We don't agree on things, but you do have your own logic to back it up, and that's 100%. Important because you're saying, well, I think this, and this is why I think it. Right? We've got to fly on.
Like
we've got to fly
like
on.
If I wanted to be a provocateur, like I could have way more followers than I have now, just like following the algorithm. But that's not who I am. No. So I'm not going to do that.
I'm stuck at about 3,600. I don't really care. My Instagram does really well. People seem to love watching me putt like a twat. They absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I had to actually bin one of my recordings.
Oh, really?
I putted the first two, and the first time I found the middle of the cup ever, middle of the cup, lipped the third one in. The fourth one lipped out. I just shouted CUNT in the garden. Like, can't put that one out.
Oh man. It's an emotional game. You and Terrell Hatton definitely have that, fiery streak in you. Like something doesn't go your way, you're definitely
I think it's surprised people.
I
think it's surprised people when I met people when I've met people from Twitter, I met them in the real world. So I don't ever swear on Twitter because it's a very public space. I don't believe in the right way to converse with each other. I don't believe it's the right way to speak to another person, especially you don't know them, you don't know what attitude they've got, how they're feeling, what their day's been, all that sort of stuff, right? And also anyone can view it. In real life, when I'm on a golf course, I can light it up like a sailor. It is not a problem. Right, we got to move on. Otherwise, we're never going to get this show done. I want to touch very quickly on two old men that I really, really love who had a great, great weekend. Richard Bland and Greg Chalmers. I'm so happy for both of them. Look, if I had to pick if you said to me before the tournament, pick 2 or 3 people to win, and Blandy and Greg Chalmers been right up there. Like who doesn't love Blandy? Who doesn't love? I like Greg. One of the things I love about Greg is that he's been this journey about where he's not played the best golf in the last year or so, and he's sort of rediscovering it on the Champions Tour, and he's been very honest and open about that, and I really like that.
That's good. Yeah. Look, I am completely indifferent when it comes to Greg Chalmers. Unfortunately, look, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not slagging him off. I'm very indifferent when it comes to Greg Chalmers. I've gotten into it with a couple of people about it. It is what it is. Like you can't make me care about golfers that I don't care about. That's just how it is. No, and I'm not saying you. I'm just saying other people out there. Like I'm just not gonna. For me, Richard Bland's another story.
For me, Greg's seems like a really nice guy. I love their podcast. I love Hack It Out. It's now my current oldest running golf podcast I've listened to, because others I've picked up and put down, but it's the one that's made. This one that stayed there the whole time.
Yep.
I love that. Great to see Greg do well, but amazing to see Blandy win it. What a result! And then my favourite thing was the PGA Tour cannot get anything right. Obviously, because he's competing in an unsanctioned tour, we cannot have a space. Like,
look, my God! I mean, look,
let it breathe. Just let it breathe. just let him have his win and let it breathe. Because when it came out, it read like a jilted ex going, "You can't see the kids." It was just unbelievable.
It's complete trash. It's complete garbage. Like we can't just enjoy the fact that, look, Richard Bland, he is peaking. Like as a golfer, he has peaked in his late 40s and early 50s. This is like almost unprecedented. Like he has, and I will say, like this is where the competition at LIV, like he has been forced to play at an extremely high level for 2 years in order to keep his place there, because Richard Bland has no guarantees moving forward. He hasn't had any guarantees since he started at LIV. He's had to perform and finish in that top 24 each year to secure his spot for the next year. He is playing very, very well right now, and I knew that he was going to play well at the Senior PGA. I didn't know if he was going to win or not, but I knew he was going to play well. And I do want to shout him out because Richard Bland's been nothing but nice to me. Like, he's been really, really welcoming. Like, if I say hi to him, like, he's always like willing to chat. And he's really turned himself into an elite player, especially short game wise. Like, he might be the best wedge player. Like, all right, maybe not best, but he's in the top 3 to 5 at LIV. I don't think there's any question about it. Like,
I read some. There's an argument that he could be in the currently calm down the world, just relax and let me say this out loud. He could be in the current top 25 short game players.
Yes,
worldwide,
easily. Oh yeah, no question about it. Like, that's his strength. Like, look, he gets it out there for like being in his 50s too. Like, he's in the high 160 ball speed, like around 170, which is great. Like, it's, I mean, especially for a senior player. Like, I was seeing some of the seniors like struggle to get 150 ball speed with the driver. So he's like 20 miles an hour ahead of that. So yeah, like for the seniors, he's long off the tee. He's keeping it in play. He is an elite short game player. And I think a lot of this has been born out of his time on LIV, where you have to make sure you're playing at a really high level. And look, the PGA Tour is petty. It's part of the culture. It's part of the deal. It's something I have accepted for a long time now. It just is what it is. I know there's a lot of anxiety over at the PGA Tour and the PGA Tour champions about what the future holds for them, because let's be honest, the Senior Tour in the United States is an entity that continues to lose money. And
hand over fist.
Yes, yeah. And they don't have a benefactor like LIV Golf has, where they've already built in the fact that there is going to be a 5 to 10 year period where they might not have returns on their investment.
Thought right at the beginning of LIV. I said look, and it's probably not the right thing to do, blah blah blah, for whatever reasons. You could do it. I don't know how it would look, but I said for a long time with LIV, 6-person team, 4 men, 1 senior, 1 lady. I'm not saying that. I mean, I know because LIV has become so serious. It's a bit gimmicky.
Yes,
but I also still like the idea the senior's got to play the senior from the other team. You've got to have a mixed doubles match, a mixed pairs. What? Look, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it interests me in just the grander scheme of what could that look like.
Yes,
but there we are. And also,
that needs to be like a one-off. I could see that totally being like I don't want to see an entire league like that, but I want to see that as like a one-off event.
If they go to what we've discussed, which I think they'll do, which is sort of 4 singles, maybe 6 singles events that have got less of a team element. Your individual score counts to the team, but not in the same way the team element does in the day. That sort of thing.
Right. They're not awarding trophies for the senior for the team in the singles. Yeah,
that's correct. But then you could have a team event, and as you say, if you've got 8 team events, you could have 2 where you have to have a champion. You have to have champions and a lady. Anyway, let's move on.
I've also made a suggestion that, like, because you have so many senior level players that have like great charisma, that have great personalities, like John like there's no reason why John Daly shouldn't be a part of LIV. I don't want to see him playing at all. I don't think that he needs to be playing golf on LIV at all. That being said, like, I mean, you could easily have him being like the thing I suggested, because Brooks and John Daly are so close. It's like, why not bring in John Daly as like a vice captain of Smash and like bring him out to the event, have him out there in a car, like, getting the crowd going. Like, I think that's an element that LIV has yet to tap into, but I definitely think that that's something that could be coming a little later on down the line, because there's a lot of these like really big name players that could be involved in LIV.
In some also some big seniors. My brain's gone blank. My one of my favorite Spanish golfers.
Oh,
Jimenez.
the mechanic. Yeah, Miguel Angel.
How cool would Jimenez be being part of the Fireballs? It'd be absolutely amazing.
That would be great. And you could have like Jose
Everyone's got smoke.
as Legion.
Any old boy's got a smoke. That's the rule. your lady or your old bloke's got a smoke. I'd love that. Like so, Majestic's got Charley ripping darts. I love it.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, like there's certain players. There's like certain players that are outside of sort of the LIV teams now that are either seniors or ladies that I think should be involved in these LIV teams at some point, for sure. Charley Hall.
You and I've got limited time. We've got limited time, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Scottie other than look. I'm going to put a timer on. We do this sometimes, listeners. I'm going to give you 90 seconds. I'm going to do 30. I'll do 10 seconds on Scottie. Storm in a teacup. Oh my God! What? How did it get this far? Also, his lawyer played a blind by threatening a civil suit. Right. That's my view. You've got 90 seconds.
I'm not going to use up 90 seconds. I don't really have that much more to say about Scottie Scheffler, honestly.
You got 40 seconds. Go.
Look, I don't want to get people wound up too much about Scottie Scheffler, but I will say everything that's gone on around him the last couple of weeks has been very odd. And I don't think we should rule out any possibilities about things going on behind the scenes, about this being a potential setup. I'm not saying that happened, but it's like, look, when you start evaluating this as an investigator and sort of putting my investigator hat on and like looking at all these things, it's like, yeah, it could be a bad cop. It could be a rogue cop. That happens every day in the United States. There's no question about it.
Really?
But when you start looking at...
I've never heard about a rogue bad American policeman. Is that a new thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's yeah, I got a few stories I can tell you about, but luckily none involving me. I've been very, very fortunate there. But look, I'm glad this is something that they're going to be able to put behind them. The charges on Scottie Scheffler confirmed today. They have been dropped. And we could sort of all move forward with our lives at this point. Like, it was just a big misunderstanding that for whatever reason got escalated, and like his mugshot got out, and there were people that were selling mugshot t-shirts 45 minutes later at Valhalla. Like, look, the whole episode is just weird to me, and none of it really makes sense. So I'm just glad we're able to put all this behind us. I don't want like any more excuses about Scottie Scheffler's potentially his drop off. He's going to drop off a cliff here the remaining of the year. He's not going to maintain the level that he's been at. And I don't want any excuses about this being the cause of it. He's never won a PGA Tour event after April. And I expect that trend to continue. He peaks early in the season and then he teeters off towards the end. I think that's just the reality of his situation. Maybe he wins again this year, but I don't think that he will. I think that he's going to come down off this high, and everything's going to normalize. And some of these other guys on the PGA Tour are going to start elevating. The Morikawas of the world, the Rorys of the world. I think they're going to keep going up.
I think he'll still do well. I think that what's happened actually I think you probably hit the nail on the head more inadvertently with your last 5 seconds, which is Rory's the world, Morikawa's the world. I think others are trending really well. I think that Scottie was playing amazing golf while everyone else was really bad. The only person who was kind of playing well at the same time was Wyndham Clark, who obviously put the hoodoo on himself by his comment that he made at the Masters, and since then can't find the centre of a club. And I think
he's not playing that bad, but he's not as consistent as some of the other guys.
But what's happened, I think, is that everyone else is sort of trending well. So Scottie, to stay where he is, has got to really stay where he is because others are trending. He can't afford to slip. If he stays where he is, he will still win. If he slips a bit, others are now playing well enough to start to take it back off him.
Yep.
Right, let's move on. Lastly, we've got 2 things. Rory's comments, which I know for you hadn't seen. You were too busy, so I had to let you know what the comments were. And the comments, in short, were, I regret inserting myself into the middle of everything in the way that I did. I maybe said a bit too much. I've got nothing against players. They made their own decisions. It is what it is.
Shocking comments. Yeah,
And
never
one of my favorite comments underneath it was, make sure those divorce papers are fully filed before you take your 800 million.
Look, that's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Like, I mean, this is something that hasn't gone away in this whole situation. You and I both know.
Remember that piece of information I gave out, and I said Rory was going to go just after Masters, maybe a few weeks after Masters, and the person who said to me, I can't tell you why, and I trust that person, and then the rumour built up, and then obviously he filed divorce papers in the Wells Fargo, which is a couple of weeks after Masters. It does make you wonder if there was an element of anything involved. I'm not saying there is. I'm not. That's not a rumor spreading. It really isn't. So please don't anyone take it like that. But there are coincidences. There are circles within circles. There are ideas where we're in ideas, and it's just even if Rory doesn't go to LIV or doesn't play on LIV and never plays on LIV, whatever happens, I do think it's important that he changed his opinion and the way he was speaking at Christmas. And it stayed changed, and he's doubled down on the change, and I think that's really important. Whether he goes or not, he's doubled down on the change a few times now, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, because this is how he truly feels. Like we have gone over this ad nauseum. Like all of those things that he was saying.
I'll put the timer on. You got 30 seconds.
No, I'm not going to talk this long. But all those things that he was saying before about LIV, they were all coordinated. They were all things that the PGA Tour wanted him to say. I've had a source tell me like all the money Rory's been getting from the PGA Tour the last year, and it's substantial. I've got a number. I'm not going to say it. He knows it. A lot of people around him know it, and that's totally fine. I'm all about these players getting as much money as they can, obviously, which is part of the reason why it's part of the reason why I wanted him to go to LIV and collect his life-changing money that he could turn into he could flip it into being someone that is like the most important person or one of the most important people in global golf. Like he could totally reshape golf in Ireland.
I also think right, Rory could do a map like Rory talk about like changing personality and changing sort of way perceived. Rory could do a really good sort of 2-3 years as Hulk Hogan going full NWO heel turn. He really could. Yeah, like
it would be box office, like I was saying. Like his heel turn would be one of the biggest box office draws in golf. And I've said for a long time that
he could call his team the Leprechauns and just have pictures of Weir and Eamon Lynch as the mascot.
That's going to be the hardest thing is dealing with Eamon Lynch, because Eamon Lynch is going to go very, very hard at him if and when he decides to make.
I'm still waiting for Eamon Lynch to retire, because obviously he said he wouldn't work for a channel that was involved with LIV, and obviously they make a lot of money by talking about LIV. And now the Golf Channel obviously does show elements of LIV for some European carriers. I'm yet to see that, but.
I feel like Eamon Lynch is going to be one of those characters that just sort of fades into oblivion.
And what's sad, right? Is I really like Eamon Lynch. I think Eamon Lynch is a fantastic.
Oh my god, he's so terrible.
Wait.
The worst.
His writing style, I love. I love his writing style. I think he's eloquent. I think he's verbose. Doesn't mean I like what he writes.
I think he's pretentious. I think he's judgmental. I think he's
English people call that elegant and verbose. You call it pretentious.
Fair enough. Look, I've said a million things about Eamon Lynch. I don't think he has integrity. I think that he's a total shill. I think that he is just he needs to be doing something else. I don't even think he likes golf. Really honestly, I don't think he does. I think that he needs to be like a political commentator someplace. Like that's more of his realm. You can't convince me that he loves golf. You can't convince me that he even likes golf, honestly, because he doesn't talk about that at all. Like everything he says is like cynical and like going hard after players, especially the players that went to LIV. Like the guy is just a total. Don't get me started on Eamon Lynch, but if you want to have a couple positive things to say about him to balance this out, I'm fine with that. But just know, I think Eamon Lynch is one of the worst people in golf. Even more so than Brandel Chamblee.
I don't not get into it, right? I can't be dealing with it. That person that hates you is going to be in the comments now. I really like Eamon Lynch.
Of course he is. Of course he is. Like everybody. Anyway, you've already got me fired up about this.
Right. What's next?
Let's move on.
Next? Hang on. What's next? I'm just looking at my phone to see what we said. What we were going to chat about. Genuinely forgotten. Okay.
No, I think we haven't really dove into Lexi Thompson. That was kind of the last thing.
Hang on. Okay. We got on here. Charley Hull, Ben Rant, Scottie, Rory comments. We've done the PGA Senior, which we weren't meant to be doing. Lexi, what I want to talk about is if it feels like you and I are the only two people who went, why are you saying she's retired?
I know, it's very bizarre. Like, she's not retiring for professional golf. She made that abundantly clear.
Yeah, she made it. I'm not retiring from professional golf. I'm going to play a reduced LPGA schedule. I know it's not retiring.
No,
like
she's going to play probably all the majors next year. Like she did say, she's taking it day by day. She's gonna. That's
not retirement. Day by day isn't retirement.
No,
retiring is a retirement. She's going to go and she's going to take 2-3 months away, and she might play a couple of how many ladies majors left this season? 2, 1, 2.
Well, the US Open's this week, and then there's 2 others after.
Yeah. So, and she'll play the Solheim Cup. So, as a minimum, she's going to play the Solheim Cup and 2 more majors, right?
Yeah.
That's not retiring. And then she'll play other events, and she'll probably look. She's not going to retire. She's not retiring.
I guess if we are counting Avion, which is like hard for me to count it as a major, there's actually 3 left. But so
regardless, she's made it clear she's withdrawing from full LPGA schedule.
Yes.
Why, other than wanting clicks, is everyone going, Lexi's retiring? I just don't like. It's like she didn't say that.
No, I think it's honestly, I think this is like a LPGA thing, because like this is a big thing for the LPGA specifically. Because look, make no mistake about it, Lexi Thompson is one of their top 2 to 3 stars on the LPGA tour. So she's not going to be playing a full schedule there. That's a huge hit for the LPGA. There's no question about it. And I think that's why they're sort of saying this is a retirement, because like she may not play in very many LPGA events going forward. I could see her playing in all the majors. I could see her playing in some Aramco Team Series events, or if there is a ladies element to LIV, like I could see her being like the number 1 target in sort of participating in that. So like I would love to see, Lexi as like, the female member of Smash, or the female member of the 4 Aces. Like I think that'll be awesome. But that's kind of another story. I just think that she's closing this particular chapter of her life. She's been a LPGA pro for like 17 years. This is her 18th US Open, and she's not even 30 yet. That is like one of the craziest stats out there. So I think that she will be playing in many more US Women's Opens. I'd love to see her win one. When she came here to Olympic Club a few years ago, I was there on Sunday. I was rooting hard for her, and it was one of the hardest. It was so hard to watch that. It was like a slow motion car crash where you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she lost, but yeah.
And so the ladies' game has got some really big players in it, but it's not
a lot of stars.
It's not even that. It's that they're not jumping across in that stardom way. They've got some great players, like Nelly Corder, certainly, right? Hannah Green is like a new sort of story in many ways. She's second. She's had 2 wins, and 2 of her second places have been to Nelly Corder. So between Nelly and Hannah, they sort of dominate. You've got Lydia Ko's a big name. Would you say that
Charley Hall's a big
but would you say
a star?
Even with Lydia though, would you say Lydia Ko was a star? Like I think she is, because I love golf.
Yes,
but I wonder how many.
I think she's a star. I think she is. Like,
But
is she a star on the level?
You got to have recognition. How many? What percentage?
It's on a curve, though. It's
relative
because there's not that many LPGA stars that have crossover appeal. There's just not that many. So if we're talking about stars of the women's game, like she's definitely in the top 10. I don't think there's any question about it. Is she top 5? I mean, that's kind of a little bit of a harder thing to crack when you start like going down the list. I mean, she's probably on the borderline there, but they have some very very talented players.
Yeah,
not that many stars, because stars are hard to come by. That's like one of the things that's like
hard
about
to be a star. It is hard. You're not just naturally a star. Look, talking about stars, you're a star, and I am a star, and this has got to be the end of our podcast because we got to 40 minutes. We're now talking about which ladies are stars in golf. Well, you and I both know that most of the people listening to this, sadly, have no interest in ladies golf, which is a real shame to me because I love it. And I watch more.
Yeah, I love women's golf too. I gotta say this one thing. I do have to shout out women's golf, because honestly, one of the reasons that like my game got to like the next level and I became a scratch player is solely from playing so much golf with the ladies team at Duke. And I know how much you hate me mentioning Duke on this podcast, but like it's a big thing. Like I learned so much from them in terms of how to control their wedges, about short game, about the game is not entirely about power. Yes, power game is an important thing, but like if you're going to get to the your potential in golf, it's all about short game. It's all about wedge play. It's all about the precision things more than the power things, because there's a lot of people out there that have power that are not good golfers. So I'll leave it at that. Also, shout out to Celine Boutier and shout out to Leona Maguire. There are two of the women from the Duke women's team that are highest in the rankings. Those two are stars.
All right. You went to Duke. Christ, no one gives a shit. Right. Goodbye, everybody.
A lot of people that do. A lot of people love college golf.
But remember, a lot of people that like Duke are from Duke, and everybody else hates you.
And I don't mind that, though. That's something
you being a Duke
we
fan
have an identity.
You being a Duke fan and me being a Dallas Cowboys fan is so divisive.
It is.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.